Hello, this is MrChabry, and today we're going to be talking about the bug types that you can find in the Diamond and Pearl remakes. The first one we're going to look at is Kricketune. So Kricketune is a pure bug type Pokemon, and stats wise it's on the lower end. 85 attack is its best stat, and that's not going to be enough to put a big dent in anything. Its defenses are terrible, both at 51, and its speed is also really bad at 65. So Kricketune a difficult Pokemon to use. It's not really going to add much to your team. I would, suggest you skip Kricketune. Next up, we're going to look at the different Wormadams. So Wormadam actually has 3 different forms. The first one is the Bug Grass type Wormadam, and its best stat is a 105 special defense. So stats-wise, it wants to be a specially defensive Pokemon, but this one has a terrible typing for that. Bug Grass, it's weak to a lot of things. Next up, we're going to look at Wormadam, the ground type version. The best stat for this one is actually a 105 defense, so a little bit different than the other Wormadam. Bug ground is a better typing, however, this thing is pretty difficult to use in-game. And the last one is going to be the steel type Wormadam. This one is a bug steel type. It's got a 95 defense and a 95 special defense, which in lower tiers, if you use this thing, it could actually probably take some hits. However, as an in-game team Pokemon, none of the Wormadams are really going to be adding that much to your team. None of them really have much offensive power. All of them are really slow. So Wormadam's a difficult Pokemon to make use of, and I would probably not use it. The next Pokemon we're looking at is Mauve. This is actually a part of the Wormadam family. However, it is a more offensive variant. This thing has 94 attack, 94 special attack. So it's not the worst in terms of offensive. However, it is not really the best. It is pretty slow with a 66 speed, and bug flying, which could have some perks, actually probably would hold this thing back, because that means it's weak to quite a bit of things. So Mauve is a very challenging Pokemon. Use it if you're wanting to challenge yourself. Next up is Beautifly, and this Pokemon is also on the slower side, 65 speed. It's also a bug flying type, and it does have a better special attack stat with 100. But this one's also pretty difficult to use. Those stats are not really going to help you out very much. It's got very, very low defenses, both at 50. So this thing's going to not live very many hits. It's slow, so you're going to want it to live that many hits. This would be another challenge run Pokemon. And that can be applied to Dustox as well. This thing's really slow, 65 speed. It does have a 90 special defense stat and a 70 defense stat, which means it is better at taking hits than Beautifly. But it only has 50 attack and special attack, meaning it's not going to be doing that much damage. It is a bug poison type, which I actually do think is a better typing combination than a bug flying type. However, this thing still stats-wise is held back, and that's what you're going to see with a lot of these bug types you can get early on. Once they're fully evolved, they don't offer that much. So Vespiquen is actually an interesting Pokemon looking at its stats. It is a more bulky version of a bug flying type Pokemon. It has a 102 defense and special defense, which means early on it could probably live some hits. It's got a 40 speed, which is really slow. An 80 attack and special attack, which is not the best. You're not going to be really putting that much damage. So Vespiquen would also be a difficult bug type to use on your team. I do feel like it's better than a lot of these earlier bug types we just went over, but it still has a lot of problems with it. So now we're going to talk about the first actually good bug type that you can add to your team, and that's going to be Aerocross. This thing is actually an amazing bug type. It's got 125 attack, which means you're going to be doing a lot of damage. 85 speed is actually pretty middle of the road. You can outspeed quite a few things, but you're not going to outspeed everything. 95 special defense is decent, and you can take special hits pretty good there. 75 defense isn't the best. However, this thing has one thing that it can do really good, and that is putting out damage with that attack stat. This thing also has a fighting typing added to it, so that means you're going to have stab on fighting type moves, which is amazing. I feel like Aerocross is going to be one of the few bug types that would actually make sense to put on your team. However, if you do have this thing on your team, watch out for flying types. Aerocross is very weak to those. Another good bug type that would probably fit pretty well on a team is going to be Mega. This thing has a 116 special attack, which is amazing. I do have to point out this thing was added in the Platinum decks, so keep that in mind if you want to use this thing. 95 speed is good, it's going to outspeed quite a few things, and it does have decent defensive capabilities with 86 defense. So yeah, this thing's actually a decent special attacking bug type Pokemon. It's bug flying, so you can have some flying type stab as well, and it does have the ability Tinted Lens, so if your opponent resists your certain moves, it'll actually boost damage. So Mega is actually another good bug type Pokemon. And when I talk about these Pokemon, I don't often talk about the not fully evolved Pokemon. However, Scyther and Scyther play so differently, I feel like I have to cover both of them. So Scyther is a bug flying type Pokemon, and this thing is another good bug type Pokemon. It's got a 110 attack, which means you can put out quite a bit of damage, and a 105 speed, which is actually really good. You're going to be outspeeding a lot of things. And this thing actually has surprisingly decent bulk added to it, with 80 defense, 80 special defense. So you might actually live some hits that are thrown your way. Scyther is actually a pretty good Pokemon, and I feel like this thing could actually be an amazing offensive fast bug type. And now we're talking about Scyther. This is a bug steel type Pokemon, and unlike Scyther, this thing is actually slower. It's got a 65 speed. However, it does have more bulk to it, 100 defense, and it does have an amazing attack stat at 130. So whereas this thing's going to be slower, it's also going to hit things a lot harder. Scyther is one of the best bug types in all of Pokemon, and looking at it, this thing would be an amazing bug type if you wanted to use it. That steel typing also gives you some options against fairy types, and it gives you something you can hit rock types, which usually easily take out bug types. So that's all the bug types in the Diamond and Pearl remakes. Which bug type, if any, are you going to use? There's actually a few that can do a lot for your team, but most of them are early game Pokemon that aren't really going to do much for you. Are you going to use the early ones for a challenge, or are you going to use the amazing ones that could pull through with your team? If you like this, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. I will see you in the next Pokemon video.